F-16 fighters of the Ukrainian Armed Forces carried out a pinpoint strike on Russian troops on the southern front using high-precision JDAM air bombs. The attack was aimed at 3 key occupier facilities. The second and third airstrikes hit the settlement of Plavni. In this area, 2 objects were destroyed at once, an enemy forward command post and a concentration of assault units, which, according to Ukrainian intelligence, were preparing for an offensive. The strikes were extremely precise. The targets were hit with the support of a reconnaissance drone, which provided aerial corrections and transmitted the target coordinates in real time. The published video shows precise hits and powerful explosions, confirming the destruction of enemy targets. The military emphasizes that the use of JDAM makes it possible to hit targets at a significant distance without entering the enemy air defense zone. This makes the F-16s especially effective in areas where Russia is actively building up its forces, such as in the Zaporizhia region. Furthermore, Ukrainian armed forces carried out pinpoint strikes on critically important Russian military facilities in the occupied part of the Zaporizhia region. The strikes hit important Russian facilities in the occupied part of the Zaporizhia region and in the Krasnodar region of the Russian Federation. The Ukrainian army struck an enemy S-300 anti-aircraft missile system in the occupied part of the Zaporizhia region. The strike was carried out by some long-range fire weapons and was accurate and effective. The enemy installation was destroyed. According to the Ukrainian side, the elimination of this target significantly weakened the ability of Russian troops to fire at long distances, and also limited their ability to attack Ukrainian positions and civilian infrastructure in the region. The defense forces continue to systematically destroy key elements of Russia's military potential, which reduces its ability to conduct military operations, hold captured territories, and maintain the occupation, the General Staff emphasizes. Ukrainian drones have struck fuel storage and refueling facility at an airport in resort city of Sochi in Russia's Krasnodar region, Ukrainian media reported on Monday. The attack by unmanned aerial vehicles sparked large-scale fire and disrupted the work of airport. The operation to hit the airport was carried out jointly by Ukrainian forces of unmanned aerial vehicles in coordination with other military units of the army. Russian aircraft were also stationed in the airfield, according to Ukrainian military officials who have described the strike as an effort to undermine Russia's warfighting capability. Ukrainian authorities said more details about the operation and its consequences would be publicized later. On the same day, Ukrainian troops also struck an oil depot outside Sochi. US-based Institute for the Study of War, ISW, reported. Geolocated footage have revealed strong fire at the Rosneft Kubanefteprodukt oil facility in Adler, just outside Sochi. Confirming the attack, Krasnodar Governor Veniamin Kondratyev said multiple fuel tanks were engulfed in fire following the drone strike. Astra Telegram channel said drone attack caused fire near Sochi airport in the Adler district, suspending the operations of the airport and forcing evacuation of passengers. Sochi Mayor Andrei Proshunin confirmed that a fuel tank had exploded at the Adler depot, and that nearby garages had been hit by drone debris. Proshunin, however, said there were no casualties. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky stopped by an outpost that has been holding Vovchansk for more than a year. According to Associated Press, the outpost is manned by the 17th Separate Motorized Infantry Battalion of the 57th Separate Motorized Infantry Brigade. "I understand that everything is very difficult, but you Ukrainians are fighting," as the commander said. "Tajiks, Uzbeks and the Chinese, everybody's here, Pakistanis," Zelensky said. Ukrainian presidential aide Andriy Yermak and Zelensky posed for photos with officers, according to a video released by Ukraine's presidential office. The coming week could be pivotal in the ongoing war between Russia and Ukraine. Trump's special envoy Steve Witkoff was expected in Moscow midweek, just before Trump's Friday deadline for the Kremlin to stop the killing or face potentially severe economic penalties. The diplomatic stalemate remains challenging, with Ukraine losing territory on the front line, but showing no signs of a defense collapse. Trump has expressed skepticism about the effectiveness of sanctions, while Russia continues its military advancements.
Захопити залишки пішохідного моста, укриття. Практично завод практично знищений.
Хочу вам подякувати за те, що тримаєте. Для мене честь сьогодні нагородити бійців 57-ї бригади за захист нашої держави. Бачу, чув доповідь, розумію, що дуже непросто, але ж ви, українці, боретесь, як командир сказав. І таджики, і узбеки, і китайці, всі вже тут, і пакистанці. Дякую за службу.
Служу народу України.
Дякую. Дякую за службу, Михайло.
Служу народу України.
То тоді, коли там обмежена видимість, то тоді страшна, вона стала жорстокою. Що навіть як бати кажуть, чого, давайте вб'ємо там і так далі.
Russian propaganda has targeted Azerbaijan, turning the country into its enemy. Kremlin-controlled media resort to offensive analogies against Baku, and Moscow is losing another ally, writes Agentstvo. In a recent article, the Moskovsky Komsomolets newspaper compares the actions of the Azerbaijani authorities with the policies of Nazi Germany. The reason was the dismantling of a monument to the artist Ivan Aivazovsky in Khankendi, which the author of the article interpreted as an act of racial cleansing, similar to how the Nazis destroyed monuments and books of Jewish scientists in the 1930s. It is noteworthy that before the start of the war with Ukraine back in 2014, the Kremlin similarly compared Ukrainians to fascists. According to the newspaper, the decisive factor for the demolition was Aivazovsky's Armenian roots and therefore unwanted blood. In its article, it directly drew a historical parallel between Azerbaijan's actions and the Nazi regime, comparing Baku to the Third Reich. This is the first time that Russian state media has so openly insulted Azerbaijan. The author mentions that in Germany, under the Nazis, Heinrich Heinz's books were burned because of his Jewish origin, and in Kiev, during the Euromaidan in December 2013, a monument to Lenin was torn down. Relations between Baku and Moscow worsened after a security forces raid in Yekaterinburg, during which Azerbaijani nationals were killed. Azerbaijani forensic experts concluded that the men had been beaten and tortured. Official Baku has been using harsh rhetoric against Russia for several months. After the scandal with the same Stepanakert, the Azerbaijani Foreign Ministry accused TASS of violating territorial integrity and promised to respond in kind, right down to using the historical names of Russian cities. The Russian agency was forced to rewrite the article twice. Meanwhile, Sputnik Azerbaijan employees and Russians linked to cybercrime and drug trafficking were detained in Baku. In response, representatives of the Azerbaijani diaspora were arrested in Moscow. Tensions are rapidly growing. The situation shows that Russia, weakened by the war with Ukraine, is no longer able to contain multi-vector conflicts. Its resources are scattered, and the information war is turning against it. Observers emphasize that Azerbaijan is openly challenging Moscow and is not afraid, and this is especially humiliating for the Kremlin, which until recently considered Baku a reliable partner and even a satellite. Now even former allies are attacking on all fronts, informationally, diplomatically, and politically.